Hey, come on in. I'm Jen Schneider. I have actually known Jason, oh gosh, for a really long time. I grew up shooting archery and he worked at the bow shop, and we went on a bear hunting trip in Canada when I was a teenager. And I actually worked for him for a short time when my oldest was a baby and his youngest was just about to be born. And we've just stayed in contact kind of our whole lives. In a professional realm, working for him, you know, I saw some of the stuff that he did when he first started his business. He did pivots, he did farm projects, he started working for EEC, that kind of stuff, but I never, you know, really had need for electrical work. I just kind of knew that's what he did. And then I think just over the years I've watched his company grow sort of from afar. You know, you'd see a new building project go up and I'd see the TEI sign in front of it. It's really cool to see somebody that you've known for a long time, that you know is local, like getting in on some of these big projects. And he's always been an electrician that I knew. I think he put in the like 220 outlet at my parents' house when they got a hot tub. So it's always kind of been in the back of my head. When we built our house in 2016, I had reached out to him. He ended up not doing it for our main floor, but then we were looking into finishing our basement, and it's just too much for us to think about doing on our own. And I was like, you know, I know these guys, obviously I'd seen some of the social media advertising that they're doing more than just commercial work, and it said no job too big or too small, and I was like, well, then I think I know who I need to call. When we decided to go ahead and do it, and that we needed to hire somebody to do the electrical in the basement, that it was outside of our spectrum of capabilities, I have an advantage because I have Jason's cell phone number, so I texted him. He said he'd get somebody on it right away, and Stuart gave me a call. He scheduled a time to come over and showed up on time. He was extremely personable, really nice. He came down, took a look at the basement. He was extremely thorough in terms of wanting to know what we were doing in the basement area, what it was going to be used for. He had some really good ideas about extra things to put in places that I wouldn't have thought of, even though I'd gone through the home building process. There were things that I overlooked, and so he was great about making sure that he touched on everything, even planning outlets and light switches and that sort of thing. He came down, did the drawings, did the measurements, and then said he'd get back to me. He called me probably within a week, said he had hard numbers. We went over those. Husband and I talked about it, and I called him back and told him we were good to go, and so he started on our project. It was easy. We have nowhere else to go. We have 3 kids and 2 dogs. There was only 1 dog at the time when Stuart started working on stuff, but yeah, he would just he just fit into our lives. It was wonderful because they didn't have to change a lot of things. He would come in and go to the basement, and I always teased him because he would come in the afternoons during the summer, and I said, you're just coming to my cold basement because it's hot outside. So he'd come and work on things while we were watching movies or staying inside to cool off, and that was really easy. It was a piece of cake. I think anytime you are asking someone to come into your space, it's always like you just never know what you're gonna get. Stuart was extremely personable. He was understanding of our chaos. I would try to keep the dog out from the basement while he was down there working, but every once in a while he'd sneak down there, and Stuart started referring to him as his apprentice. He would bring him the ball, and told him he didn't have to throw it for him, but he would anyway. It was fun because I kind of got to know him as we would talk about some things in the basement and what we were doing and why we wanted to finish it. You know, our kids are getting big, and so we need the extra space now. And I kind of got to know a little bit about him and his story, where he came from and his kids, and so it was nice. I mean, he spent quite a bit of time here, and so getting to know him a little bit was really great, and he's a really nice guy. I think anytime you're looking for work somebody to work on something in your home, or you're looking for work from a professional trade, it can be really intimidating. Sometimes they're so ingrained in what they've been doing for so long, they forget to look at it from a homeowner or a consumer's perspective. And I think Tounsley's done a really good job of seeing what that looks like from the consumer perspective. You know, they're saying like, hey, if you have just little things that need to be done, give us a call. And they're really good at walking you through what that looks like, what the timeline looks like, the products that are available. And I would say, even though they're doing lots of big jobs around town and you see them, they're absolutely available for small jobs and what you need done around your house too.